My name is Stratos and I am the group's Scrum Master. I am now going to introduce you to our web application. Tabula Rasa was built using the React framework and the React compatible libraries named Undesign for the website's design and D3, which is a JavaScript library for creating interactive visualizations. Furthermore, the web app is hosted on a virtual private server owned by one of the team's members. Now the dataset that we're given to work with contains information about emails and 9 attributes. The name of the sender and the receiver is given, along with the date that the email was sent, then the type of email that was sent, meaning direct email or forward email, the job titles of the sender and the receiver, and the sentiment of the email. Now we will further analyze all the features that were mentioned beforehand.
Hello, I'm Maarten, and I have been primarily responsible for the arc diagram. In the arc diagram, we represent each employee by a specific node, and the emails that these employees have sent by the links between the nodes. The employees are colored based on their job title. So every employee with the same color shares the same function within the company. When the user hovers over one of these nodes, it'll highlight all the edges connected to it. By default, it does this based on who received the email, but it can also do it based on who sent it or the sentiment of the email. There are also other functionalities, such as flipping the arc diagram vertically for better visibility, and changing the edge thickness and opacity to make it fit the user's needs.
Hello, I'm Wout and I mainly worked on the adjacency matrix. We chose our second visualization to be an adjacency matrix. The matrix focuses on exploring the edges in the data. The nodes are on the axis and the squares represent whether there is an edge between two nodes or not. The matrix can display all the connections in a clear view. The user can interact with the matrix by hovering over a square to see the information of that edge. Our matrix has no axis. Instead, we allow the user to click on a square and to highlight its row and column. The user can now compare different connections easily. The matrix also has different options. The first one is sorting. The nodes can be sorted by profession, the number of emails sent, or they can be juggled. Secondly, the colors can be changed. The colors of the squares can be based either on the average sentiment of the emails or the number of emails sent between two persons.
Hi, my name is Kenan. I've worked for the most part on the chord diagram, so I will now be showing you some features of that. You can color the chord diagram by sentiment, profession and number of emails. The sentiment will show how negative or positive the emails that have been sent are, so red will mean that they are very negative and green will mean that they are positive. Gray will be somewhere in between. You can space the ticks out if you want, so if you want to show a larger data set, maybe steps of 2000 would be better, or maybe you want steps of 10 for a smaller data set. You can also hover over a chord, so it will highlight and show you some extra information in the tooltips. You can also hover over a job type, which will show you the job type itself and how many emails have been sent from that job type, and that's pretty much it.
Hi, I'm Fatine and I'm partly responsible for the adjacency matrix, but mostly for the report. The last visualization we decided to implement is the force-directed graph. The force-directed graph resembles the arc diagram. The nodes represent the employees, and an edge between two nodes means that communication has occurred between the employees. The nodes are colored in the same way as they are colored in the arc diagram, and this makes it manageable for the user to distinguish the various job titles and to get a better overview of the communication between the employees. However, there is a difference that can be found between the force-directed graph and arc diagram. The nodes of the force-directed graph are floating points in 2D. The edges are pulling the nodes together, and the more emails is sent, the stronger the force, and these nodes with a stronger force will therefore be drawn to the center. There are a few options of which can be chosen from by the user from the sidebar. The first option is to make the force-directed graph either disjoint or joint. Moreover, the size of the nodes can be chosen, the thickness of the edges can be changed, the opacity of the edges, and the scaling of the nodes. And all these interaction techniques make it possible to distinguish the outliers and to discover particular patterns in the communication behavior of the employees.
Hello, my name is Finian and I mainly worked on the website and will be giving you a short introduction to it. First up, the homepage, where we give some general information about the tool, about each of the visualizations and some information about ourselves. Then next up, the guide page. On the guide page we give an extensive guide on how to use our tool, navigate the menus, use our control system. And then on the visualization page itself, under general options, you'll find an option to change the color scheme and enable the tooltips, which will tell you what each of the other options does in a tooltip. Then you can use our screenshot functionality to make an image of your current canvas and save it to your computer, with several options like a PNG or a JPEG, enable or disable the background and include the slider. And then last up, the timeline, which will dynamically update all visualizations when clicked. And you have several options like changing the speed, changing the step size, so how many days or how many weeks or how many months it does per cycle, and then also unlocking or locking the start date.